What is up there, everybody? Welcome back to Christian Penguin 1990. My name is Matthew, and we are continuing again with Why I Pray. Today is going to be day 21. It is entitled By Multiplication, Not Addition. It's amazing how we limit the spread of the gospel by thinking of evangelism in terms of winning individuals to Christ rather than transforming homes. Jesus told us to make disciples, and they always come in pairs. There's no such thing as an individual disciple. It takes two to become a disciple. Read Christ's definition of discipleship found in John 13:34-35. He describes disciples as persons in a visible love relationship with a love for each other so great that it defies explanation and is the ground by which non-Christians judge whether we are truly Jesus' disciples. In the book Your Home, a Lighthouse, Bob Jacks writes, shortly after Arlene became a Christian, she developed a concern for her family, who were of another faith. She drove 2 hours to her mother's home to tell her what had happened in her life, totally unprepared for her mother's response. "I can't believe you are turning your back on the way I have raised you." Crushed, Arlene cried all the way home. She called to tell me what had happened. "Well, why don't we just pray about that?" I said. "You know, maybe you should start a Bible study at your sister's home. Do you think she would do that?" Arlene said that's 2 hours away. "Bob and I will go up once a month to lead the study, if your sister will host it," I told her. Arlene's sister reluctantly agreed, and after about 6 months she received Christ. Then in sequence her husband, 4 children, and mother became Christians. Then Arlene's sister led her father to Christ. Bob Jacks provides a chart or map of the various homes reached by Arlene and her Christian friend Bob. 6 homes were touched by an evangelistic Bible study and prayer cell. Within 1 year, over 104 persons were transformed, and their homes were, in turn, transformed into homes of prayer. This, by the way, occurred in the state of Connecticut, which is not known to be the world's most responsive area. When we were first experimenting with the formation of homes of prayer, we hired a church planter to start one cold on a street in the inner city. One Wednesday afternoon, after much prayer and guidance, he and his wife selected a street and went from door to door, asking neighbors what they thought the needs of the neighborhood were and if they would be willing to form a home of prayer. To the couple's delight, on that first afternoon, someone was interested. This person had not been to church for 30 years, but considered herself a Christian and felt the only solution to the neighborhood problems would be prayer. The church planter encouraged her to invite her neighbors to a meeting with him the following week. A week later, he was dumbfounded to find that 15 people had shown up to pray for the neighborhood. After a prayer and worship time, a woman identified herself as a resident on the next street over. She said she would like to start her own home of prayer for her street. So on the 3rd week, there were 2 groups, praying for the streets. Within a month, a 3rd person from the 2nd group asked if she could start another home of prayer. A policeman from a 4th street over also asked for help in starting one in his street. Within a few weeks, a mini explosion occurred as people's homes became homes of prayer. No, God doesn't always work that way. I am now working with an inner city apartment complex for which a home of prayer has been praying for 2 years. Crime has dropped dramatically, but we have not been able to start a home of prayer in any of the 20 buildings. Within 2 months of starting in another city housing project of 250 units, however, homes of prayer began emerging on every floor. To reflect and discuss amongst yourselves, describe a situation in which you have seen the gospel raised from one home to another, and something to meditate on. When you think of witnessing, never think merely of individuals, think families, think homes. Make your goal that of Luke 10:7. Find homes that will become homes of prayer in the area. So, let's see. To go back to the reflect and discuss one. Describe a situation in which you have seen the gospel raised from one home to another. When I went to Baltimore, sorry, I had something in mind. When I went to Baltimore with my church, we did what they kind of explained here. We went door to door. We talked to them. We invited them out to a fall festival and so on. And when we stopped to help, people were asking, they were talking to us, they were asking questions, and it was just one group after another started coming out, And the church planter that we were helping told us that that is the first fall festival that he has seen where everybody stayed for hours on end. Normally they'll try and hold one when it's just them. There's nobody else to help. They're trying to do everything on their own. Normally when it was just them, they said people might stay 15 minutes and then everybody's gone. There's nobody to witness to them. And when we went up there to help them plant the church, help them be outreach, help them to talk to people, they said people were staying for hours. They were bringing blankets to have a picnic. The kids were having fun in little bouncy houses and so on. And it just went from person to person to person, where some would come out, they would go back, and then their friends would come with them, and they would have to go back. And by the time we were done, I think we started with maybe 4 or 5 kids, neighborhood kids, who went back, told their families, told their friends, and brought them, and just went back and forth, back and forth. By the end of the day, we probably had over 100 people out there. And off and on throughout the day, not total at one time, just off and on throughout the day. But it was just amazing to see how everything worked. And as in a personal neighborhood, I cannot say personally I've seen that. Maybe one day I will. It'll be great to see it. But I continue to pray for my neighbors every day, and I'm seeing small changes. People are starting to I don't know if it's because of the time of year, which is the Christmas season, or what, but they're starting to liven up a little bit. So hopefully y'all are enjoying these Why Pray videos, and be here next time as we go through day number 22. And like I said, once we reach day 40, I'll find something else to take the place, because it's only 40 days in there. So hopefully they're helping you understand why to pray, the power of prayer, and help you in your walk with Christ to keep praying, which I know I need work with it every day. So I try to pray every day when I can. I pray, like I said, I pray for my neighbors. It's called prayforeveryhome.com or .org, something like that. Go look it up. It'll send you a list of 5 neighbors a day in your email. And be sure, after you've prayed for them, it'll give you a little prompt too, something you can add to your prayer to help you out. But after you pray for them, there'll be a little link. Did you pray for them? Click it, and it'll say, thank you for praying for these 5, and they'll send you another 5 the next day. If you don't, you'll get an email, which I did because I didn't realize you had to do that. And I was like, well, it's just sending me the same ones every day. Maybe something was busted. And what it was is I wasn't clicking that link. So apparently, and it lets them think that you're not praying. So you'll get an email saying somebody is praying for you, because apparently you're not praying for them. And I was like, oh, this is how it works. So once I figured it out, because I hadn't used it, but definitely try that out. You'll be surprised how many neighbors you'll be getting. I think it's over 100 or so. And it's ironic because you'll actually get your own house eventually, which I did. Which I was like, oh, I got to pray for myself now, apparently. But it's something good to do. Just to pray for your neighbors. Just pray for their well-being. Pray that the Holy Spirit will comfort them in their times of sadness. Will even convict them to want to talk to people and want to know more about Jesus and what He did for them on the cross. So hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos, and I will see you next time. Until then, God bless, stay safe, and later.